Hello there, witches. My name is Anya, and I'm with Serenwitchery.
And I'm Debbie with If the Broom Fits.
And this is our podcast, Witch Whispers. Welcome to January. Oh my God, can you believe it's already 2026? What in the hell?
It's been a rough year already.
Oh my God, right? Holy crap.
Which is why we're talking about this today.
So today, our subject is seining, saging, and smudging. And we're going to talk about other things in between there too. But Debbie, today was your day. I did last month. You were in charge of this month. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what you got so far?
Well, okay. As most people know who come in the shop, I usually dedicate the Yule altar to the Kaliak. She's my friend. She's not everybody's friend, but I relate to her. And when you work with the Kaliak, you sain, which is S-A-I-N. And it's a Celtic smoke cleansing practice.
So that's why it's called seining, because it's from Gaelic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And you use certain botanicals like juniper, rosemary, lavender, thyme, that kind of thing. You can even bundle all of those together and use them. Very wonderful, sweet smelling thing. And seining is different. It's, like I said, Celtic, mostly Scottish tradition, while smudging comes from Native American and indigenous cultures in North America. I'm sorry, the kitty here, Aurelia, she's coming up into my lap, so I had to stop for a second.
Well, you're sitting in the seat o' cuddles.
Yes.
So, you know.
The seat o' cuddles. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyhow, seining is really good to take you out of the ick, if you will. For lack of a better thing.
Well, and smoke does that anyway. Whether you're seining or smudging, the smoke itself will gather the negativity, which is why when you're seining, smudging, whatever you're going to do, the biggest recommendation is open a window.
Yeah, because you don't want to fill your house up with smoke.
Yeah.
But it's very relaxing too, especially those particular herbs. They seem to shut down the negative vibes, for lack of a better term.
Right.
And just let you relax, like sitting down with a good cup of tea.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Sitting in front of a fireplace, any of those things. That's what seining does. And then let's see. So you use seining for rituals that take place at like if you have a particular time of the day that you want to do your seining. I like to do mine before I go to bed, just because that fragrance is in the house and everybody relaxes. It's like, lavender.
Yeah, it gets your subconscious into that theta state. Yeah.
And it's for doing things like when you move into a new home.
You should always cleanse a new area. Yes. Always. Even when I got my apothecary here, and If the Broom Fits, I cleansed it. I smudged it. Now I smudged it differently, and something we will be talking about later on is alternatives to the smoke, because there are some people who can't do it. Like, for example, you were saying one of the things with seining herbs is juniper. So my business partner is highly allergic to juniper. So she couldn't come in if somebody had been burning juniper. Right. I'm highly allergic to burning sage. So there are other ways around it, and we will be talking about those.
But all the practices are positivity. It's just what you like. But there are, seining, I look at it as protection, setting up protection, whereas smudging is cleansing and clearing out for me. And then I was trying to find where I had smoke cleansing. It's just what it sounds like, using smoke or incense to clear out energetic impurities, banish negative entities, or even as a blessing. You have to choose your herbs and all accordingly, of course.
Right.
So, yeah, for smudging, it's rosemary. They say juniper, but I don't tend to use juniper a lot. I tend to use cedar.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of juniper. Just the smell of it, I'm not real big on. I don't like gin either, so you know, juniper berries.
I do like gin.
See, now I'm not a juniper
fan.
Is
my signature, alcohol.
Exactly.
But I don't care for the burnt smell.
Much different.
Yeah. So for smudging, it would be rosemary. They say juniper. I say cedar, mugwort, pine, lavender, and garden sage. Not to be confused with any other kind of sage.
Because that does need to be talked about. The Native American community has come to us as practitioners, witches, as a whole. The tribes have come to us asking us not to use white sage because to them it is extraordinarily sacred to them. And also, if I'm remembering correctly, it's also endangered.
You know, I'm not sure about that.
I'm not either.
I have to do a little bit of research.
Yeah, I would too. But I do know that the Native American community has come forth and said to us, please don't use white sage. And we said, okay.
Okay, we'll find some alternatives.
Which is garden sage.
As always, for me, I always revert to the old ways.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Always. And so rosemary would be for protection and purification. Juniper, they say banishing and warding off negativity. I wouldn't know because I don't choose it. Mugwort, enhancing intuition and dream work. Pine, renewal, and fresh energy, which for me is kind of like the same thing as cedar because I still like cedar better than I do pine too.
Now, when I'm doing a cleansing of a house, when someone calls me to do a ghost removal, because my lungs can take it, I will use Palo Santo.
It's not my friend.
Yeah, but see, sage is not my friend.
Right.
Palo Santo is.
Palo Santo is okay. It's not my go-to.
Right.
Because I'm not a licorice person, so I don't like that anise.
Oh, see, now I love the anise smell.
No.
But the thing is that anise smell is actually a cleansing smell. It scrubs the air just like the sage does.
Right.
So that's why I use the Palo and would prefer the Palo Santo.
Yeah, if I can use, like I have cedar in there on the altar right now, but if I can use cedar with, like the fresh cedar with like cedar incense,
there you go.
I'm a happy camper.
There you go. Perfect.
You know, that's like going out by a campfire to me.
Right.
And I use it for meditative purposes as well because it does take me to that otherworldly place.
And I prefer mugwort if I'm going to do that.
Okay, because that's enhancing intuition and dream work.
Yeah.
Lavender is peace and calming. Go figure. And then the pine or cedar is renewal and fresh energy, which I feel like there's just not enough cedar in the
We all feel there's not enough cedar in the world right now.
It's very hard to keep smile on, but we're doing it.
But and that's okay. Using some of these practices that we're talking about right now can help to clear that anger that we are all feeling so deeply right now.
Yes, and that's why this is really good to be doing this right now.
Exactly. Plus, on top of it, New Year.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't do it for New Year's Eve, we have the lunar New Year's coming up.
Right.
And maybe that would be a perfect place. But remember, if you're going to smoke your house like that, have windows open so those entities have a place to go.
Right.
They can leave and escape, as Dory would say in Nemo.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just, saning is kind of like, in Catholicism, it's the holy water. You know, holy water is what you use in your rites and things like that. But for me, if I'm going to do meditative work to where I want to bring in the good stuff, I will do a saning as opposed to a smudging.
Right.
Every time.
Right.
So,
It's like you would sane before you go into a ritual.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. But not, and some people do use sage to do that before they go into a ritual. When I have people come into a ritual, I will use either cedar or I will use Palo Santo to do the cleansing.
And for saning too, usually music or chanting or drum work, something like that, singing bowls.
Yes.
Anything like that is usually done while you're saning because you're calling in.
Right. You're programming the intent
yes.
of what it is you want to happen. So you're basically telling it what it's going to do for you.
And well, and I feel like you do that with any kind of smoke, whatever's.
Well, you do that pretty much with any kind of magic, period.
Yes.
But you know.
Smudging, like when you go to rituals, like public rituals, things like that, they are setting up protection with that smudging. So I always feel like smudging is more for protection, whereas saning is calling in the good house spirits and the positivity, the positive intentions that you want brought into your home.
Exactly.
So I just felt it was important that people knew what the heck it was.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I had people looking at me like, I've never even heard that term.
Are you out of your mind, lady? What are you doing?
And I always have to remember that, especially our beginning witches.
The novice witches.
Yeah, they've heard of smudging.
Yeah, but saning not as much.
But saning, they're like, what are you talking about? Because it's an old tradition.
Yeah.
And that's what I usually follow.
Well, and again, it's also very Celtic. So if a person doesn't follow the Celtic pantheon, they're not going to hear about saning, but they are going to hear about smudging.
Yes.
Or smoke cleansing.
I think smudging and smoke cleansing is kind of universal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're very interchangeable. Whereas saning, when you first told me about it, I was like, okay, I've heard that word before, and I know it has to do with cleansing with smoke. But I didn't know the difference between saning and smudging until today.
Yeah. So
always learn something new.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. If other people who are coming in here who have never even heard of it or know what it is, then we should get it out there to people.
Well, and not only that, there's other ways to cleanse too. We're talking about saning and smudging in this episode specifically. But like you have that beautiful floor cleanser that you sell.
Yeah.
So when you're done saning, you could use the floor cleanser, or you could put the floor cleanser down and then sane the home.
Exactly.
Or smudge the home. Now, for me, for a person who has pretty bad acute asthma for certain things, I don't really like using smoke as much. Now, I'm a double fire sign, which to me is like a shame because, you want me to set someone on fire? Okay. But I can't use it. And that's why I got into the oils. Because what you can do is you can dilute it in distilled water and glycerin, and you can make a spray, and that spray can do the same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have in my aromatherapy sprays. The when in doubt, spray it out. That is strictly for it would be the same capacity as smudging. Right. It is to cleanse and protect.
Now, I have one that I use for my house cleansing called GTFO because you need to get the freak out. But I don't sell that one because it is not only a cleanser, it's a binder because it binds that cleansing in there so that things can't escape into the home. But we do have a cauldron cleanse and we have an obliterate. Those are both sprays that can be used in replacement of the smoke, because like right now there's a lot of apartment complexes. You can't burn anything in the apartment complex, period, the end. You're not allowed incense, you're not allowed candles, you're not allowed smudging sticks, you're not allowed saning sticks. So what do you do instead? Well, when it comes to the candles, you can use the electric candles, and we use electric candles here all the time. On the altar. Exactly, because we don't want to start a fire.
Right. And I never know if anybody's, it says don't touch anything on that.
But people still do.
They still do. So I don't want to have any fire, to
Well, but this is an alternative. When I first was told I was allergic to sage, and it's not just me. My mom and my sister have the same problem with sage burns. It shuts down our lungs, period, the end. It's because the particulates of the sage are too big for our bronchial tubes. It's just the way it goes. So when I first started doing that, I talked to my teacher, Cleta Dawson, and I said, Cleta, what do? I can't use sage. Now, here's the weirdest thing. The first time I was introduced to sage, it bothered me. But then I had gone to a ritual where they used sage to cleanse us out, and there was a sage bundle smoking on the air altar. Now, granted, we were outside, so we had some airflow, okay? But in the circle, doesn't bother me. Will not ignite my lungs, won't give me any breathing problems. The minute the circle comes down, I cannot breathe.
That's because you've set up protection.
Right, exactly.
So and seining isn't for protection, like I said. It's for calling in those, people kind of giggle, with the Harry Potter thing about house spirits. Well, you have them.
Yeah, exactly. My
that elf on the shelf, yeah, that's cute and funny.
Yeah, until you realize it actually does pass on information.
Well, and that's just a doll. But there are real house spirits,
right? Exactly,
that happen all the time. We have one in our apartment and it's kind of like where our refrigerator laundry room is, and we'll sit there and watch TV, and we'll hear noises, and we're like, "Oh, hello," because that's our house. One of our house spirits is like
right. When my kids were younger, especially teenagers, I had already gotten into witchcraft. And I had programmed my house that if my children were home alone, because they were both teenagers, that house would let me know when they were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing.
And people, by programming her house, she does not mean Alexa.
No.
Or
no.
Google Home.
I mean guides that I called in that said that they were willing to reside in my home and watch over my home and tell me when something was happening.
Right.
So a perfect example of that is one day I got called to work, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll take the assignment. But I kept wanting to go home to change my clothes. I had to go home to change my clothes. When I walked in, I found out that the toilet upstairs had broke and water had been leaking all throughout our house all day long.
Good thing you went home.
But it was my house guides that said, no, you really need to change your clothes. Go home and change your clothes.
And you need to pay attention to things like that.
Exactly, because even when you're seining, you are imbuing. You are inviting things to come and be with you. So understand that when you say to a person, I'm seining, we're going to immediately go to, oh, you are calling to your ancestors, your spirit guides, your insert person here. Okay. But when I say I programmed my house, I spoke to my house. My house was a living, breathing entity that I had a relationship with. And it's still to this day, wherever I'm living, my abode will tell me if something is wrong. It always
you have
does.
to know to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people don't.
Well, and
even a lot of witches don't.
Oh, no, because that's not something that we openly talk about. Though.
Right.
It's oh, well, it's personal preference. You're right. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
What kind of herb are you going to use? You're going to burn it. You're going to use oils. But Miss Cleta was the one who told me, take the oil, get an oil burner. So again, it takes open flame because you have to have a candle underneath it. Well, when I moved into an apartment where you can't have burning candles,
although now they have the electric ones,
right?
You can set
that you can set a bowl on easily. Yeah. But at that time, I didn't have it, so that's when I went to putting the oils in the distilled water with the glycerin and making sprays for it. Because in my mind, it looks like smoke when you spray it out of the bottle. So, talking about programming with air quotations around it. I think of that as this is smoke and it's cleansing out and clearing out what we need to be cleared out. And I mean, there's some of them that you're going to have to warn your spirit guides and your ancestors that, oh, we're going to be using, for my for example, with my house cleansings, I'm going to be using GTFO. If you're a helpful spirit or an ancestor, could you please step outside for about a half an hour?
Right.
I'll let you know when it's safe to come back in.
Energies away.
Right. Because we don't want to clean the good stuff. We just want to clean the bad stuff.
Right.
So
yeah, and let's see, I was, so, in short, when you perform a seining, you're creating a shield after you bring in your good spirits, your good energy, so that all the bad things stay far, far away from you, your family, and your new beginnings.
Right.
And it's kind of like I tease people who come in when they're talking about, oh, this person is causing me problems and I just want them away. I said, it's a simple little ritual that you do, and it's seining, and you wish them well.
Yes.
Away from you. Insert commas.
Right. You got to have proper punctuation.
Yes.
Because like I have one where you write names on those small little pumpkins, and you write the person's name, and the first day they're like touching each other, and then the next day they're about an inch from each other, and then 2 inches, and then once you hit the end of whatever table altar that you're using, you take the other person's pumpkin and you throw it in the river, but you wish them wealth, happiness, and abundance, far, far away from me.
Well, this one is, if you just wish them well away from you,
right,
that means get the hell out.
Right, get out.
But if you're wishing them well,
right,
away from you, they can still be happy, but away from you, because that's going to make you happy.
Right,
you know, that kind of thing. So that's why I say insert comma where it needs to go.
Make sure that you have the punctuation. Well, and I mean, it's with seining, we're talking about smoke and stuff like that. Water can do the same thing. I was doing a ritual to release the energy of someone that was in a group that we had, and I burnt the letter that had been sent to me. I used herbs. I did all of the stuff, and then I went to the river, and I was just going to dump the ashes in the river because I did use fire, and so I was going to dump the ashes in the river. Y'all, I don't know how it happened, but I slipped just right. I dunked myself in the river. First of all, it was warm. Secondly, instead of being angry because I don't like getting wet, I came up laughing with,
because you're fire.
Right. And I come up laughing with, well, if that wasn't one hell of a cleansing goodbye, I don't know what is. So seining is usually done with smoke, but think about the way that the Catholic priests walk down. They have the smoke of the myrrh and the frankincense when they first come in, but then they come behind with water and bless. So it can be done with water as well. And you can put those essential oils in the water and use a branch of cedar, sage, juniper, whatever, to do that kind of cleansing as well, I would assume.
And let me tell you how well that works on a child when they are, we are going to get the seining out of you. I'm teasing. I have never done that. You can ask my children.
Well, but the thing is, though, is it's funny because that's not how it works.
No, it's not how it works.
We don't, most pagans don't follow the creed of spare the rod, spoil the child.
No.
We see it a different way. And so when we're talking about the smoke, understand that, I mean, I could already hear people when we were talking about the subject, I could hear people in my head going, I can't even do that in my apartment. And that's why we're talking about the different alternatives to the smoke, so that we don't get somebody evicted.
Yeah, and you want to use it for like positive things.
Right.
Seining is very positive, but like when you get a new job, people do not celebrate their little victories.
Oh, absolutely agree.
Getting a new job, that's huge, especially right now. That's huge. And then when you surpass a level or something at work, take yourself out, do a seining, go have a nice cup of tea or coffee,
or just go sit in the park in the sun
to celebrate
exactly
the achievement that you just did.
Well, and that goes back to too, is honoring ourselves where we are.
And so many people do not honor themselves.
Exactly. And so whenever you're saying something, you are celebrating it. Because in the Celtic pantheon, saying is bringing in that good and being in that good and celebrating it for what it is, if I'm not mistaken, from my research.
Very much so. So that's really why I wanted to do this, is to show the differences between all of the different, everybody's like, oh, well, smudging is the same thing as, no, it's not. Smudging is different than seining. Seining is different than smoke cleansing, and using aromatherapies, sprays, and things like, they're all different with different purposes. And if you follow tradition, you use different herbs, different oils for each thing.
Right.
Like I would never use sage in a seining.
Right.
Because that's smudgy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So that's why I thought it was kind of important.
And another thing you said is, looking at our notes here, you were talking about sound and using sound bowls.
Yeah, sound.
So smoke cleansing it's just like a sound. Okay, it clears out the energy and impurities, and it banishes the negative entities, and it can even be a blessing if that's the way you choose to do it. Again, there are some warnings here that we need to be very clear on. Some of those sound bowls vibrate at just the right megahertz that it will cause an epileptic to have a seizure. So you need to make sure before you use any of these, methods that we're talking about, that the people who are coming in and out of your space, like here at the shop, and If the Broom Fits, we're very careful here. Like Debbie is wonderful for me, and she does not use sage at all, because she knows that if it's burning in the air and I come in here, I have to immediately leave, and I can't be in here until it's cleansed out, because I simply cannot breathe. But the same thing with those sound bowls. You get a person that comes in, especially the heart chakra specifically, the way that the megahertz and the vibrations of that run, it vibrates that brain stem just at the right megahertz, it'll cause a seizure. And so you need to make sure that people in your space are safe.
People. And that's why we do these things, is so people will know how to use everything correctly.
Well, and a lot of
even here, when you want to show somebody like the singing bowl, you don't have seizures, do you? And a lot of people will look at you like, that's kind of personal. Why are you asking me that? And that's why, because they can be a trigger.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and if there's other, like, for example, there was one time, sorry, I'm just getting over a cold. There was one time when a customer came in and really, really, really wanted to use that heart chakra bowl. But we had someone in here that is epileptic. And they were like, well, I want to try it. And I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah, we need
I told that person, I'm like, hey, they want to work with this bowl and they want to see what it sounds like. Would you mind stepping outside? And the person was like, why are you doing that? And I looked right at him and I'm like, because they're an epileptic.
Yes.
And these can cause an epileptic seizure if they are rung around a person with epilepsy. And the person's like, oh, I can't even buy it. My husband's epileptic. So sometimes it's stuff that we educated. And that's why some of our stuff, like I have tuning forks and I use them in my amplified Reiki. Now, those are much different than the singing bowls. However, when you come in and have a session with me, I have you fill out an intake form. And one of the biggest questions on there is, are you an epileptic?
Right.
Not because I'm being nosy, not because of la, la, la. I need to know, because I need to know how close those tuning forks can get to your brain before it can cause a problem.
Right.
Which is why I ask. And so,
that's just us doing our due diligence.
Right. And
we have to protect
everyone should
from themselves.
Well, and everyone should do their due diligence. If you have people coming in and out and you're doing a sound bowl meeting, you want to make sure that you have a disclaimer that lets everybody know.
Right.
This can cause seizures. Please be aware, if you have an epileptic condition, this may not be the right place for you.
Exactly.
And make sure that if you have that disclaimer, at least one person on your staff knows how to deal with a person having a seizure and knows how to render first aid to that person if they have a seizure.
Yeah. And it's just good. It's just smart to know what you're dealing with.
It's
and
good
how
practice.
and how you're working. And, you know, I feel like a lot of these old traditions and information gets lost on the highway, so to speak, the modern highway.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not talked about. Why? Even some of the instructors that are instructing now have no idea.
Well, and it's because for me, what I learned from Miss Cleta is one of the reasons that you learn this from an elder in the community is because a lot of those warnings aren't going to be put in books, because if you put those warnings in books, then people go back to the witch trials, they start persecuting people because, oh, you're teaching this. No, I'm warning you, it's a possibility of an outcome if you do this.
It's no different than the silly signs that are on mop buckets telling you not to stick your head in there, you might drown.
Or how about,
wow, I never
don't mix ammonia and bleach together. It causes a chemical that sucks that can pass out and die.
This is just good education, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely.
So many people take their education, you know, to the internet. And I'm sorry, Google doesn't know everything.
Well, and not only that is there's such a plethora of information.
You don't know what you need to know and what you don't.
And how do you know what to filter out and what not to filter out?
Exactly.
And to me, that's the biggest thing, because like for me, I did a lot of research on this before we sat down. And a lot of it was like, oh, I already knew that. Oh, okay. Huh. That's interesting. That's a great warning. Didn't know about that.
Right.
Even at this time, I've been doing this and I've been a teacher. I'm still learning.
Well, if you don't, then you're not a teacher. Because teachers all constantly have to learn. They have to research. They have to know what they're talking about.
Exactly. And Miss Cleta told me once you stop learning, that's when you start dying.
Right.
You know, and so for me, I just keep learning because I love to learn. Yeah. It's just something research I find fun. Right. But if you're going to be researching the herbs, you should probably be researching as well the possible side effects of these herbs if they're burned. Now, we went over rosemary, juniper, mugwort, pine, lavender, and garden sage. There are some herbs. Let's talk about comfrey leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So comfrey is known for gratitude. Comfrey leaves is known for fertility. Comfrey leaves is la la la. You burn comfrey leaves, it will shut down your respiratory system in less than 10 seconds quickly. And you will die. So you have to look at what you're burning. You know, and then of course you and I are real big on the whole disclaimer thing. And so one of the other disclaimers is if you're going to look around, remember to look up. Even with a smudging stick, sometimes those embers can come off of there.
Yep, right at you.
You got to have something to catch the ash underneath. And you got to make sure that if you see an ember fly off, you know where it went so you can make sure it doesn't get embedded in the rug and cause fire.
Right. And again, people don't pay attention to things like that. I think nowadays, and I'm not putting them down, it's just a fact. They're only in the moment. Which you know,
that's awesome.
You hear people say, be in the moment. Sure.
I would love to be in the moment, but I
also be aware of what's going on outside of that moment.
Well, and not only that is I may be in the moment, but I still don't want in 25 minutes for that moment to be me being the witch on the 6 o'clock news that burned down my house.
Exactly. I mean, like today, say you planned on doing some of this and you're doing it outside. Not a good idea.
Well, especially with the wind. Oh my God.
You gotta know what's going on. And you just tell people, hey, look, I was going to do a smudging, but as you can tell, the wind is not cooperating.
Not a really great idea today.
We are going to be using an aromatherapy spray or an oil or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So be aware, be in the moment, but be aware outside of that.
Well, and it takes me back to the Friends moment pivot.
Yeah.
Pivot. You know, sometimes when you're doing a practice, I don't care what kind of practice it is, saging, smudging, cleansing, magic, period, doing a spell, you have got to be able to be in the moment enough that you have an awareness of your surrounding and you can pivot and you can change because, ooh, well, we were going to have a fire, but we've got really high winds. Probably not a good idea to have a fire today.
Right. Exactly.
So what can we do instead? Well, we can take a mirror and we can set it on the ground so that it's picking up the sun. And that can be our source of
And you
flame.
also have to be careful of that because the mirror can shoot a light and there you got a
right,
fire.
Exactly. So again,
be aware. Be in the moment.
But be aware of the moment.
Yeah. So smoke cleansing is, and when I say smoke cleansing, that's not just like bundles of herbs. It can be just incense. We make powdered incense here. We have stick incense. Those are really good to use. You can use them outside when, you know, if you're doing an outside ritual. And those are for clearing out energetic energies, impurities, banish negative entities, or even as a blessing. So these are easy rituals to do for smoke cleansing. I mean, that's one of the easiest rituals you can do.
Right, exactly. Now, another thing that just popped into my mind, Debbie, when you were saying that, and I heard it very clear from my goddess Sekhmet, was remember to warn them about salt. So like you have black salt. Now, I don't sell spells that you can laid down that have salt in them. And the reason I don't is because a lot of novice witches come in. If you have a lot of salt and you throw that on the ground, you've now burned the ground to the point where nothing will grow for 5 to 10 years.
And what I do is I tell people, put the salt in the, you know, just a little pinch in the corners of your yard.
Exactly. But you're talking a pinch. Yeah. You're not talking a whole damn bag.
Yeah. You don't. And that's what I mean by do your due diligence,
right?
You know?
And
know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, and that's why my stuff is made with eggshells. So if you want to do something outside, you know, again, pivot, and instead of using salt, you can use eggshells instead. Now the eggshells won't burn the earth the way the salt will. It's a fertilizer. So you have to take it being in the moment.
Be careful because, like my oldest daughter, she's allergic to eggs.
There you go.
You cannot handle them if you're allergic to that kind of thing, or if there's other people. You have to ask them. Say, okay, this has eggshells in it. Are you allergic to eggs?
Yeah. Well, and that's part of being the inclusive witch. You know
what you're doing, and knowing what you're doing does not mean pick up a book, read the chapter, and go, "Oh, I got it." No, you have there's other people involved in that ritual. How's it going to affect them?
Well, and communication is paramount.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of magic you're doing. And if you're doing it with more than just yourself, you have to have that communication so that you can be like, oh, like for example, my business partner, Shannon, she's extremely allergic to juniper. I'm extremely allergic to sage. So I had to stop reading at one specific store because they would not stop using sage. Didn't matter that I couldn't breathe. Didn't matter that I had to use my rescue inhaler constantly while I was there. And then I had to close myself off in a room because they insisted, allergy or not, we're going to use sage. And if you don't like it, you can just leave.
And to me, that says it all right there.
Exactly.
If your customers or your clients or the people that are in the ritual, if they don't matter to you, then what the heck are you even doing?
Right, exactly.
Why are you even putting yourself out there?
But it, again, is part of the inclusivity, not the exclusivity. Exclusivity is saying, well, it's too bad you're allergic to sage. If you don't like it, don't come.
Right.
And that really hurt my feelings because I had been going for years
and can
repetitively asking them not to use sage for them to use it anyway.
Yeah.
Even at one point I came in and they were saging my room. I'm like, I'm allergic to sage. What are you doing? Well, the owner said that we had to sage every room before and after. Great. Can you not do it while I'm here? No, we have to do it because the owner said.
Even things like when we do our cinnamon door, I think the first time you were going to do it, I'm like, you're not allergic to cinnamon, are you?
Right,
because
exactly.
You hold it in your hand.
Well, and you blow it. Now it's airborne.
Now it's airborne.
And like for cinnamon blowing that, you have to be careful of your pets because it can burn their lungs. It can burn their nasal passages.
That's why when I come in and I do that, it's first thing when I walk through the door after I open up, I get everything done because I don't want customers coming through that or getting it on their skin.
Yeah, and like my niece, I sent her an oil that had cinnamon oil on it, and it burned her.
Oh yes, I got some of that cinnamon lipstick. If you remember, that was out a long time ago.
Stuff,
and it's plumping lipstick, and it had cinnamon in it. Well, we found out that my grandson at the time, he was like 9 or 10. I gave him a kiss on his cheek. He had my lip prints on his cheek. After that, that was how we found out he was allergic to cinnamon.
Yep.
But you kind of have to know things like that.
So what we're saying is yes, experiment with it. But be careful and be aware. If you're going to be in that moment, that's great. But there's more than just that moment you have to be aware of. You have to be aware of your surroundings. Are you safe? Are the people around you safe? You know, all of that kind of stuff. And right now, with everything that is happening right now in our area, being safe is one of the best things that we can advocate for because we can't control the non-safety we're witnessing.
Right, exactly. So all we can do is take care of ourselves,
and
our own, and be aware.
Right, and don't remember.
I like that. I was just sitting here going, I can't believe you said that.
That's called I had that flu and my brain still isn't so.
It was a brain fart.
It was a brain fart. It was a big brain fart. Luckily, it didn't stink too bad. But one of the things too is that we have to remember that when we're imbuing that specific property in that space, to focus on that. If you want safety and protection, that's what you're going to focus on the whole time you're walking around doing it. You're doing a seining, you're asking for your ancestors and your spirit guides to come and commune with you. That's an intent. Magic is all about intent.
And let me just, as a disclaimer.
Yeah, right. We have a lot of those lately.
We do. So when you invite them in, unless you want them to like live with you,
right? So hang out.
Yeah, forever.
Move in.
Make sure that you also ask them, okay, thank you for your help. Now, please receive back to your world.
So you're invoking and then devoking. So you're calling them to you and then releasing.
You're going to wind up with things happening in your house going, who is that? What's going on?
Right.
And then a week later, you're like,
I've done that with a ritual. I forgot to release the elements.
I did that for Fallon 1 year.
Oh my God. Air got so pissed. When a big wind came through my house and actually slammed the doors open, I was like, what in the actual frickety frack is happening here? And then I heard release me and I was like, oh shit. Because it had been 2 months and it wanted to go home. But I forgot to release. I forgot to devote.
Yes, when we as light workers, if you will,
practitioners,
do things like that, we need to take care of everything. If you have to make yourself a checklist until you start doing it all the time,
that's okay. Make yourself a checklist. I have ADD. I actually, when I first did my first ritual ever, Scott Cunningham, Solitary Practitioner Guide to Wicca, he has a checklist in there, and I followed it to a freaking T, man. Checked it off, each individual one, to make sure that I didn't forget anything. So when I stopped using the checklist, I forgot to devoke the elements, and they got pissed because I kept them around for 2 months when I thought I had released them. But because I didn't use that checklist, I missed it.
And it's things like that are not a bad thing.
No, not at all. It's a lesson to be learned.
Yeah. And when you first start, I feel like the more checklists you have, the better practitioner you're going to be.
Because it's going to train your subconscious into what ritual space is, which is why when you go into a ritual and you are doing a saning or a cleansing, you have to be very intentional with what you're doing by preparing, by getting your candles together, by finding the smudge stick or the saning stick that you would like to use. You're actually telling your subconscious, okay, we're going to go into magical space right now.
Exactly.
And it's a switch in your brain that you have to train. And by getting ready for the ritual, when you first start having those checklists. Now, I can tell you, when I'm in a big public ritual, I still have checklists.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to miss something.
Yeah. I usually have papers set up.
Yep.
And I don't even apologize for it.
Yep.
That's just fine and dandy. If you can do a complete ritual without any notes or anything, more power to you.
Right. Exactly.
But I can pretty well guarantee you probably forgot something.
Well, and we say that all the time. Something's going to go wrong.
It just does.
It just does.
It's like your wedding.
Yes. Something will happen.
Perfect. If you have a completely perfect wedding, that's probably the most boring wedding you've ever been to. It's the funny little nuances. And, I've done hand fastings where I completely dropped the cords and it'd be like, well, that just happened.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. It just happens, but it gives you that little quirkiness that makes you remember.
One of my best friends was doing a hand fasting, and it was a Halloween, and for some reason in the middle of nowhere, Princess Bride got into her head, and she went to say, please bring me the rings, and it came out, bring me the rings. And of course everybody started, she was like, oh my God. I'm like, that obviously happened because you needed an icebreaker. This is a happy thing, but because the hand fasting is so different, people are a little on edge because I've never been to one of these before. What do I do? We know when we go to a wedding, we don't wear white or red, but when you go to a hand fasting, are those the same rules? The answer is yes.
I usually wear black because it puts up protection for me.
Now, I'll wear the color that the people who are getting married would like me to wear, usually. And usually it has to do with love or passion or, something like that.
Yeah, but mine has always been black.
Yeah. So, I mean, and in America, it's very culturally inappropriate to wear black to a wedding.
I mean, because I'm the priestess that's performing.
Exactly. Which, and you have to protect yourself because you're calling to the ancestors, the elements.
Doing everything. Not only that, but all the energies of all the people.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
So
Mom and dad over there who are not happy they're having a hand fasting instead of having a Catholic priest.
Yes, and I had to do one on one of the tall ships.
Oh my.
Jewish and pagan. That was fun.
Oh, I bet.
It was
great fun.
I made sure I wore black that day.
Right.
But it turned out great. It was kind of comical. There were things, it's a tall ship,
But again, if something's gonna go wrong, I remember doing my first ritual, and one of the things Scott Cunningham said in his book is, you're gonna forget something outside the circle. This is what you do when it happens. And I was,
lighter.
That's exactly what I forgot.
Yeah,
was my lighter and a dish.
That seems to be most people's thing. When I did my very first ritual, I went to light my candles, and it's like, there's no light.
Not Johnny on the. I'm not Johnny Flame.
No. So just kind of go with it, but be in the moment, but be aware.
Be aware of the moment.
Yes. Be aware of your surroundings, the people you're with, and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, because you really don't want to smack somebody with a bunch of energy if they can't deal with it. You can cause a chakra blow, which is what happens when a person gets overwhelmed and all of a sudden their body freezes or their body breaks down because it's just too much for them to handle. And I've seen it happen in rituals too.
And I've seen it happen like at big rituals.
Yes.
I'm not saying pagan pride here, but in situations like that, our community has a lot of mentally handicapped people. They cannot handle that kind of stuff and that kind of energy. So whoever is with them, you need to talk to them, tell them, I see that you're with a mentally challenged person. I want to let you know I'm going to be doing this. This is going to be involved. Attend as you see fit, where you see fit. Like if you're using, like the sage, you might want to stand on the opposite side of the circle so that you don't get that big impact. I feel like as the leader of rituals or the priestess, that's part of your job.
It's part of the responsibility of having a ritual.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, and another thing too is, as a person who used to coordinate Sunfest, I had to make sure that there are interpreters for the deaf people. There's mobility issue people who were elder and can't. So, it's up to them if they're going to come. But what I was going to say is we usually have a few people in our groups. We usually have a few people who are designated that if someone does get overgenically well, they can go to that person.
Right.
So like, for example, my husband, BJ, he's an anchor. He's a tree. You go to him, he'll ground you immediately. And all he has to do is hug you. So we've had people become extraordinarily overwhelmed after giving ritual because they don't disinvoke or devoke when they're done. And then they're so overwhelmed with energy, BJ will go up to him, give him a hug, and help themselves ground themselves. So you have to have backups just in case something does go sideways. What do we do if someone gets energetically overwhelmed? What do we do if someone all of a sudden has a seizure because we used a sound bowl, but they chose not to inform us that they suffer from epilepsy?
Well, I have been to a couple of rituals where I've actually spoken to the leader at that particular time, and they told me straight up that wasn't their problem. And I was like, but it is.
Well, if that's not your problem, this ain't my ritual.
And that's what happened. I'm like, well, I'm out because I don't want to be associated with somebody who does not take what they're doing seriously.
Absolutely.
If all you're in it for are the kudos,
you're in it for the wrong reason.
You're in it for the wrong reason. You have to take care of,
I mean, don't get us wrong. It's nice to hear thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
But to be held in high esteem or have accolades, because that's not why we're doing this.
No.
We're doing this as a service to the community. And if you're going to provide it as a service to the community, you need to make sure your community is safe.
Yeah. So that's one of the things why I thought this was important, especially at this time of year. And especially with everything that's going on.
That's what I was going to add, especially with currently what's happening.
People don't know about saning. Now they do.
Right.
And that's something else that they can put in their magical arsenal, their toolbox. Yes. All of that kind of thing. So I don't know how much time we have left.
We have about 10 minutes left, if that.
Okay. So herb cleansing is super easy. That's just getting down to it. It's an inexpensive ritual.
Yep.
Just takes time.
And you can get some great herbs at Winco in bulk or in other stores that are in bulk, and it won't be as expensive as coming into a metaphysical store.
Right. But it all, just know what you're getting. It may not be the same quality. It may not be, it just may not be the same.
But
what you can.
Another way of cleansing though is using it in your cooking.
Yeah. You are imbuing your food with what?
I saw a meme recently that says, "Don't tell me soup isn't witchcraft."
You
follow instructions from an old lady's book. Put a bunch of stuff into a cauldron and you spin it around and then eat it. Don't tell me soup isn't witchcraft.
Right.
They're right.
It is.
Because food is just when you're saning, you can cook while you're saning.
You can do it. And the more creative you are, the more fun it is.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You should hear my no when I'm cooking. Yeah. Put more of that in there. Yeah, no more. No more. No more. Okay, that's perfect. Oh my God, Nona, there is so much oregano. It'll settle down. Trust me. Like, okay, Nona.
So these kinds of what we're talking about, the seining, the smudging, the smoke cleansing, aromatherapy, all of those, that is a great starting point for beginners. And it's as easy as your birthday cake and candle ritual.
But it's also a good reminder to us who have practiced for so long that maybe we've gotten out of the habit of doing it. Because I know that when you and I were talking about it, when I first moved in, I didn't even think about it for a couple of weeks. And then Marjorie, wonderful other Reiki practitioner that we have here in the store, came in and she goes, Anya, your room feels very heavy. When's the last time you cleansed? I went, well, shit. Because you get so caught up in your everyday ritual that you don't think, wait a minute, I need to energetically cleanse this area to make it clean again. Because we've had customers coming in and out. We've had an event or whatever, insert here.
Sure.
So it's a good reminder for experience,
because you get busy and you don't think about it. Here in the shop, I know you and but I've seen you as well. One of the first things I do is I do a cleansing and set up protection. Well, this month I've been doing a seining all month long.
Yeah. And see, now I use the Cauldron Cleanse Spray, and I go around and I do everything. When I'm cleansing, I go Windershins because I want to undo the energy. And I have the windows open, of course, not the doors because we don't want the cat and the dogs running out. To get out. But I will open the windows so that it has someplace to go. And then after that, I will bless it and sanctify it with smoke.
Now, one thing you do need to be aware of too, because I did this right here in the shop. Not too long after we opened, we had some people come in who were like, energy was not good.
Yeah, we've had a few of them lately where after they left,
I went through and did a complete smudging, setup protection, all that good stuff. That's upstairs, here on this floor, downstairs, all around, did the windows, the whole bit. Felt so good in here, right? Wonderful. But then I had a young man come in and he was looking to rent one of the spaces and mostly wanted to rent downstairs because he did it in the evening and he usually had a big class when he did it.
Right.
And he said, well, I'm going to think about it. He said, I really like your space and everything, but I just feel like I need to think about it. And he got back in touch with me like a week later and he said, I'm so sorry, I cannot rent the space from you because it's just too cloistered. It's cloistered off. And I'm like, here, my shop is not open to people?
Yeah.
And I got to thinking about it and I'm like, oh my God, I did such a good job of putting the lock on the door to keep away negativity because I got to thinking about it. Nobody was coming in. We weren't having any customers. None of our regular clients were coming in, not even phone calls.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I realized
you locked it down a little bit too hard.
It down tight.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware. And I mean, I've been practicing for over 40 years. I laughed at myself.
We're still humans.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was a mistake because it wasn't. It was a learning. It was like, ooh, well, it works.
Yes.
And it worked really well.
So well that nobody's coming in.
But we got to change this so that it's not as strong.
Right.
Because
so I had to go back through.
Right. Exactly.
And open up the front door.
Right.
It was humiliating, but it was also funny.
Yeah.
At the same time, because I'm like, I should have known better.
Well, and again, magic always has an element of funny to it because laughing raises, right? Because laughing raises your vibration.
Yep.
Again, talking about the pivot, tell a joke, right? I've done that. I've heard my goddess look at me and go, tell a joke, make them laugh.
Yeah.
It's getting too serious here. Tell a joke. So I'll tell a joke, everybody starts laughing, and all of a sudden it starts flowing again.
Yes.
So sometimes those mistakes are not to make you feel poorly. Right. It's to make you giggle so that you can raise your vibration to move on with what it is you're doing.
Yeah. So just remember to be in the moment, but be aware
of the moment,
of everything going on, the wind, the climate, the weather, the people, everything.
Yeah.
And then choose your mode accordingly.
Exactly.
Choose your magic.
Exactly. Well, I think that's it for today. Do you have anything else you want to add at the very end here?
No, I hope everyone is enjoying our podcast, and just give us some feedback. It was good.
Do you have any questions? Let us know.
Yeah, if you have any questions about things, if you have ideas for a podcast that maybe you want to know something.
Right. A topic you want us to discuss.
Yeah, we will go through them and figure out what we think will help the community, because that is what both Anya and I are about. That's why we do this.
Community is vital.
We are not becoming millionaires here.
No. Yes, we are. Shh, don't say that.
Okay, well,
we're becoming millionaires.
We're becoming millionaires.
We're becoming millionaires. Put it out there in the universe. Thank you. I am willing to receive that.
January.
Bring it on. But one of the things that we feel is very important is community overall. Because if you don't have someone you can go and ask a question to,
how are you supposed
to learn? And a lot of people still follow the old tradition of witchcraft, which is you don't talk about it. We don't proselytize about it. We don't blah, 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 all this other stuff. Yes, I understand that because of the persecution. And right now it's coming back in the most current form of regime. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
But now people are starting to clamp down again on their information and on their knowledge, because they don't want to be persecuted or targeted by the regime. And so that's why we do this, is to provide community to people who feel they don't have a community that they can go to.
Right. If they need to talk to people, we're here.
Yeah,
call us. Both you and I were just doing horribly yesterday.
Oh, I know.
Me especially.
Oh, yeah.
It was awful. Like Anya had to get on to me. It was that bad for me. And it wasn't anything that's going on in the here.
No.
Now here.
Right.
It was stuff going on.
Well, and it's because we're being inundated with that energy. I mean, yesterday you kept doom scrolling. Finally, I was like, girlfriend, get off social media. Because I double fire sign, I see all that shit and I get so angry. I have to put it away.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing I can do to impact that. But you know what I can impact? This moment.
Right.
I can impact this moment with the people around me, with who is, do you need help? How can I help you? Do you have a question you need answered? Oh, you're looking for a book? Here, this is a great book. Now, we don't have it in the store currently, but here's where you can find it. Or we do have it.
We're both very big advocates about, if we don't have it, we will send you to where we think you can get it.
Or we'll even call the store owners and talk to them, because we're friends with a lot of the store owners.
So get back with us. Let us know what you think about our podcast. And we've been doing it now, how long?
This is second season, so going into the second year.
Okay, yeah.
I think we're in episode 8 now. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
I don't have it written down. I used to keep it all written down, and I'm like, nobody else pays attention to this. And and the thing is it automatically fills in for us when we upload it to our things. It tells us, and we can look back at the former one and say, oh, that's 4, this one's 5. But I think we're like into 7 at this point. So we're almost done with the second year.
Okay, well, I think we're at the end of our podcast here.
Or babbling.
Yes, babbling. Please get in touch with us. Let us know. If nothing else, I enjoyed it.
Just let us know what you think. I mean, we'd like to know that. I mean, we can see the numbers of people who are actually listening to it, but we're into engagement. We want to talk back and forth. We want to have that, discussion, for lack of a better word.
And we're very happy because we're international.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
We're all across the world. We have people who have written us from everywhere, and we love it. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your internet world.
Your earphones, your earbuds, your speakers on your car.
And please come in and see us or drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, call us, email us with questions. We'll be more than happy to help however we can.
And until next month, blessed be.
Blessed be.